Good evening and welcome to Thegsum, Chöling, Southern California. My name is Jody and I'm the director of our center here in California. We're so happy to have all of you joining us from many different locations and time zones. And we come together in this digital but sacred space. This evening, we are pleased to welcome Lama Lodro to continue our series on Ngöndro practice. Lama Lodro is the first woman to serve as KTD's president and is a student of Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche. Lama Lodro is also the women's retreat master at Karma. We are so excited to announce the name change to Thegsum Chöling, our name change to Thegsum Chöling, Southern California. Our new website address is ktcsocal.org. Please visit our website and consider becoming a member at this exciting time. You're also able to make donations directly to our teachers as well through our website. Each and every one of you on this Zoom call tonight is an important part of our Sangha. We relish in everyone's participation, whether you are a new or seasoned practitioner. Before I hand it over to Lama Lodro, please, if you would, put your microphones on mute so as not to have any background noise. And actually, I'm going to hand it over to Daniel first for some beginning prayers. And thank you all for being here. It really means a real lot to all of us here. Thank you.
Thank you, Jody.
Thank you, everyone. We will now do some prayers. I will recite them. And if you're on mute, then I think that makes it a little bit easier for all of us to just recite as we wish. Can you see the screen? Okay, first is the 4 ordinary thoughts. Precious human birth. There'll be a slight pause between each stanza. First is precious human birth, so favorable for the practice of Dharma, is hard to obtain and easily lost. At this time, I must make this meaningful. Death and impermanence. Second, the whole world and all its inhabitants are impermanent. In particular, the life of each being is like a water bubble. It is uncertain when I will die and become a corpse. As it is only the Dharma that can help me at that time, I must practice now with diligence. Karmic cause and effect. Third, at death there is no freedom, and karma takes its course. As I create my own karma, I should therefore abandon all unwholesome actions and always devote my time to wholesome actions. With this in mind, I must observe my mind stream each day. The defects of samsara. Fourth, just like a feast where the executioner leads me to my death, the homes, friends, pleasures, and possessions of samsara cause me continual torment by means of the 3 sufferings. I must cut through all attachment and strive to attain enlightenment. Refuge prayer 3 times, first in English, followed by twice in Tibetan. Until I reach enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. By the merit of generosity and other good deeds, may I attain Buddhahood for the sake of all sentient beings. Sangye Chodong Soki Chok Nam La Chanchu Bardu Dakni Kyapsu Chi Daki Jinso Ki Pe Sonam Ki Drola Penchir Sangye Drupar Sho Sangye Chodong Soki Chok Nam La Chanchu Bardu Dakni Kyapsu Chi Gapi Chinso Ki Pe So Nam Ki Rola Penchir Sangye Gurpar. So the 4 limitless meditations, once in English and twice in Tibetan. May all beings be happy and create the causes of happiness. May they be free from suffering and from creating the causes of suffering. May they attain that sacred happiness which can never be tainted by suffering. May they attain universal, impartial compassion, free of worldly bias towards friends and enemies, near and far. Senchen Tomche Dewa Dong Dewe Yudong Denpar Gyurchi. Duknyal Dong Duknyal Gi Yudong Drawar Gyurchi. Duknyal Mepe Dewa Dampa Dangmi Drawar Gyurchi. Nering Chatong Dong Draway Tong Nomchen Pola Nepar Gyurchi. Semchen Tomche Dewa Dong Dewe Yudong Denpar Gyurchi. Duknyal Dong Duknyal Gi Yudong Drawar Gyurchi. Duknyal Mepe Dewa Dampa Dangmi Drawar Gyurchi. Nering Chatong Dong Draway Tong Nomchen Pola Nepar Gyurchi. Bodhicitta. May Supreme Bodhicitta, awakening mind, which has not yet arisen, may it arise. And may the precious mind of Bodhicitta, which has been generated, never decline, but always increase. May all beings everywhere plagued with suffering of body and mind quickly be freed from their illnesses. And here is a short, concise 7-branch prayer, once in English. I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind, and offer clouds of every type of offering, actually and mentally transformed. I confess all my destructive actions accumulated since beginningless time, and rejoice in the virtues of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until cycle of existence ends, and turn the wheel of Dharma for all sentient beings. I dedicate all the virtues of myself and others to the great awakening. And request to teach, in accordance with the interests and the faculty of the sentient beings, please turn the wheel of Dharma of the small, great, and common vehicle. And without further ado, I will turn it over to Lama Lodro.
Thank you. For this very auspicious and delightful event of the new name of the center. Now, do you call it the KTC South Carolina, or just SoCal? So I'm not too used to the name SoCal, but it's a lovely name. So this means that the activities of the center are expanding to include all the Southern California area, which is extremely important. And it is a sign that every one of you has worked very hard to promote and to expand the activities of the center to include more people. Of course, it'll mean more work for all of you, but it'll also mean more benefit for many more people and more merit for everyone involved. So I really, from the depth of my heart, rejoice in all of this. And it's really such a pleasure to be able to attend the beginning of this new phase of the center. And I'm very grateful for all the lamas, Khenpos and lamas who have been contributing and teaching to the activities here, and to everyone on the staff and all the volunteers that have been, I see all the weekly newsletters and announcements, and you've all been working very hard to bring more Dharma to more people. So I'm very grateful and appreciative. And I have been asked to answer questions and perhaps in a few words about the Ngöndro. Actually, Lama Karma is the Ngöndro Lama, so I feel a little bit kind of, shy about answering questions on Ngöndro practice. And all of you actually have been doing Ngöndro, and I'm sure have received the teachings on Ngöndro multiple times. So you probably know the practice more than I do and have done, a lot of it. And so I don't know if you have questions or not, but we have Khenpo Gengyong here, Lama Kathy is here as well. So I think, the questions can be addressed to them as well. They can probably answer better than I can. So this is where we're taking the rest of the session, that is for people to ask questions. Or would you like Khenpo Gengyong and Lama Kathy to also say a few words about just, this auspicious occasion in general, and also about Ngöndro practice?
That would be great. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, I think it would be great to.
I think
So
Lama,
Khenpo Gengyong.
you will do more because it's very important. Last time we did, so please share your wisdom, it's good for all our Sangha.
Uh,
I agree.
I think with you both present, I'm a little shy. Truly. Really, I don't feel that I really am qualified, or I really truly feel that both of you are more qualified than me to answer questions. So, yeah, but let's see first if there are questions, about Ngöndro or everything else in general.
I have a question, Lama Lodro.
Yeah.
When you're leading the women's retreat at Karmeling, and they're all doing the Ngöndro practice, are there any obstacles that come up during that time for any of the retreatants?
Usually not, because in the beginning of the retreat, everybody is all gung-ho about the retreat and is really, really dedicated in practicing. So of course, there will be a lot of physical challenges in terms of doing a few thousand prostrations a day, in order to complete it in a month. Everybody does do their best. And as far as the other three Ngöndro practices, there's usually no problem, I think.
So Ngöndro practice needs to be completed in 30 days.
Each of the Ngöndro needs to be completed in 30 days.
30 days. Okay.
Yes.
Question. Oh, sorry, Bruce, you go ahead. Bruce, you go ahead.
Okay, thank you. So at the end of the prostrations, we are directed to dissolve the refuge field, and finally the refuge field dissolves into light and merges with us. Could that be taken as an opportunity to sit and in a form of seated meditation, since at that point it's as if I'm trying to rest in awareness. So it almost seems like a meditative moment, and B, like it would be enhanced if I were doing that final part of the prayer seated and prepared to be in seated meditation.
Yes, that's true. I mean, after the prostrations, you have the Bodhisattva vow, which requires that you kneel on your right knee, correct? But after that, you should go back to your regular meditation posture until the very end. And then after the refuge tree, all the objects of refuge dissolves into you, that is an excellent time to rest your mind naturally, because as Khenpo Kato Rinpoche always said, you know, the best time to rest your mind is after very, very rigorous physical activity. That's when your mind can naturally come to rest. So, yes.
Thank you.
Lama Lodro, I have a question. This would be maybe for all the lamas, because I know that you're mostly involved at KTD, but I know Lama Kathy's at a KTC. I'm curious, any idea what percentage of people do Ngöndro a second time?
Lama Kathy or Khenpo Tingyon would be
Khenpo
better
Tenkyang?
informed about this.
Khenpo Tenkyang, what's your experience?
I think he's disconnected. Sorry. I don't know. I think maybe it went on and off and then it was gone. So hopefully it comes back.
Okay.
Mine as well. My internet, where I'm visiting with Dr. Chöling, and the internet has been off and on at least 3 times, and so you may lose me too at some point. But to briefly say how many people do Ngöndro more than once, it really depends on the individual. I think that was your question, right? How many, what percentage? I couldn't say percentage wise. People I know who have done it twice. There are few. But some people go on to do the 3-year retreat, and some people go on to practice one of the other Guru Yogas, such as the Karmapakshi Guru Yoga. But then I know several people who are doing it a second time, but it's not, I don't know. Lama Adam, what's your experience with the students you've worked with?
Oh,
I don't think I've been
Hi.
teaching long enough. Hi, Lama. I don't think I've been teaching long enough to have much data on that. But one thing that occurs to me is I do it, a sort of truncated version of it every day. I mean, I'm not accumulating, but I think it's a practice that I know sometimes people keep as a part of their daily practice afterwards, even if they don't start to accumulate and do the whole series as their main practice again. And I found that to be incredibly valuable. When I got out of the retreat, I could not wait to get back to doing Ngöndro. So yeah, that's what I would mention.
Can you say more about that? I'm curious.
Yeah, I mean, it's for me, it came out of the requirements that we're supposed to keep after the retreat, which is to do basically the chanting of the Ngöndro each day, but not necessarily with the purpose of like we might do a half an hour of prostrations or an hour of prostrations if we're accumulating 100,000. For me, it's just a matter of doing 7 or 21 in the visualization, and it's a much shorter thing because we have a whole lot of other practices to do as well. But I feel like it keeps me in practice with the toolbox of essentials that Ngöndro is. I kind of feel like it's like a tool belt of the things that we need. And so to be able to connect with that for me first, kind of in my daily practice, has been really helpful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lama Lodro, this is a question which comes up quite often because you were saying also that, in the beginning of the 3-year retreat, you do the whole Ngöndro in 1 month. And I think very often we all discuss, including myself, how long can it take? Because I think a lot of people, it takes a very long time. I'm speaking for myself here. So what's your opinion or your view on that?
I think as challenging as it is, it's so rewarding. We were all required to complete the entire 4 preliminaries in 4 months, 1 in each month. And there was just no rest. It is just, you just keep pushing and you keep doing it all day long, really. And in the end, when you complete it, you just feel so good. And I think there's a lot of value in this, and maybe not everybody would find it workable. Some people like to take it more slowly so they can really absorb, which I understand, which is also excellent. But doing it in a like a such a intense kind of fashion, I think also has a lot of value.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I hope that this will, knowing this, you probably already knew from before, but knowing that there are people who actually can finish Ngöndro in 4 months, I hope it's encouraging, to some of you. And there are actually people who are not in retreat who just do their own retreat, and were able to complete the entire retreat in a very short time as well. Maybe not 4 months, but close to, just a little longer than that. It's really, really workable. It's doable. And it's been recommended that rather than doing, 1 or 2 hours a day and missing days sometimes, it's probably more effective to do short retreats regularly, like on weekends, 2 days a week, maybe not every weekend, but as many weekends as you can. And when there are long weekends, rather than going out for fun, take the time to do your short retreat at home. In this way, you will be able to accomplish the Ngöndro much, much faster.
Lama Lodro,
Yes.
or Lama Kathy would, people seem in such a rush to do Ngöndro and get it done. And for me, it's the direct opposite. I'm not trying to drag it out, but I'll do the mantras all day long. And it's constant. And it brings the guru with me in every activity. And I feel it's my main practice, but I'm not in any rush. I almost don't want to finish it. Like Lama Adam referred to the joy he has. And I'm sure we've all experienced such great joy from it. But, I've been working on Ngöndro for 40 years now. It was only when I met with Khenpo Rinpoche in 2019 that I committed firmly to not missing a day and doing a certain number every day. And I do keep stressing that to my friends, that really I wish I'd committed to that decades earlier. However, we all go through our own evolution, and I just want to make sure KTD or Karma Ling is available when I finally get to retire, because I still have to work. I want to get there and I want to finish Ngöndro. I do want to finish it. I take that back, that I don't want to get it done, but I just want to make sure it's okay that we all seem to have an individual path. And I don't know, maybe that I shouldn't have even made that comment, but I just thought I'd share it, give some comic relief to the whole situation, because it is so overwhelming, just so many people.
Yes, it's true. It's true. If you are truly diligent in the Ngöndro practice and not procrastinating, and taking it as your main practice, even for life, that is actually in itself excellent. There are people like that in Tibet. They just, all their lives, they just do Ngöndro again and again and again. That's their main practice. And I think if you really take the practice to heart and not try to rush it, but do it slowly and really sincerely, I think that's when you will really reap the harvest of the practice. But of course, I'm not saying then you should, everyone should do it, because then no one would be able to move on to other practices. That would be kind of a different kind of phenomenon. But But yes,
Well,
if you,
thank you. That's a big relief to hear. I do appreciate it.
yeah.
Lama Kathy, you also know the situation well. What's your view?
I think that I appreciate you asking, and I do want to hear what Lama Adam has to say as well. From my own perspective, I have seen people. This one gentleman took 20 years to finish, and he was so thrilled when he finally finished. And I've met all kinds of people in all kinds of personal situations, and I think that what Lama Lodro is saying is exactly right. That we get so much out of doing the practice of Ngöndro because it removes obstacles, it purifies negative karma and obscurations, and what's not to like about that, so I think that if we can what do they say? What's that English slogan? Make haste slowly, and just be present for it. I think that's the only advice I would give is just to not rush through it, to be present for all of it, and then to really participate in the purification aspect by putting whatever is on your mind into the practice. Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche said, if something is bothering you in your life, like if you're having a problem at home or you're having a problem at work, or if you have a bad habit you want to have a cure for, that you put that into your Ngöndro practice and dedicate the Ngöndro practice to the purification of that habit. Or if you feel like you need more wisdom or more compassion, you can ask for the recitations and repetitions to give you the things you need. So I think that's what I want to say about that. And I see that Lama Adam, yes, do you have some experience with this with folks too?
Well, yeah, what comes to mind for me, I've appreciated hearing Lama Lodro and Lama Kathy's thoughts on this, and I think for me, I just love the idea of the hugeness of the undertaking. The giant number that almost seems like we can't get our head around it, combined with the power of one prostration. And so I always think of it in terms of balance, whereas and I guess that would be my thought. It's not really a definitive answer to the question, but I think if there's a pull in one direction or the other, that's a kind of an imbalance in a striving that would maybe cause some problems. But I think for me, it's finding that balance of on the hugeness side of it, on the giant number, there's an element of impermanence there. We only have so much time to get it done. And that's an important factor to balance. But on the other hand, in one prostration with perfect intention and perfect presence, that can be enough, just one. So I think as long as you're able to kind of continually not to, and when I say balance, I never mean find the spot and then you're there forever. I mean this process of continually balancing those two aspects of we only have so much time and I can also do it right in this instant. If you can continually balance those, I think that would be my input on that. So thank you.
Very good.
I have a follow-up on that comment from Lama Adam, and I'm very curious from all of the lamas present, if you've ever heard of a specific practitioner achieving enlightenment during Ngöndro. And the reason I ask is we know specific stories of, I believe it was Ananda, worked so hard and finally gave up. And then as he was lying down halfway between the lying and the sitting posture, he attained enlightenment. So he was one of the unique individuals to gain enlightenment out of one of the four postures. We all know stories of Tilopas passing the transmission to Naropa and the difficulties, and Milarepa dropping his begging bowl and da-da. So can anybody say a specific example of a Lama achieving enlightenment during enlightenment? I've asked this question before, but I've never been able to find someone that ever heard of an example. So now I've got an esteemed crew to ask that of. Anybody?
I think we'll defer to Lama Lodro to answer first.
You know, enlightenment is a very inner experience, and usually people don't talk about it. And it's sometimes difficult to tell just from their outward speech or action whether the person is enlightened or not. And I think, you know, what we're concerned about is more about our intention, our motivation for practice, rather than our goal. This is what I think. You know, we're not doing Ngöndro or any other practice in order for ourselves to achieve enlightenment. Of course, that is the ultimate goal, but that shouldn't be the goal that's always on our mind. Our goal that should be on the mind all the time is that I'm doing this to benefit all sentient beings. That should be always on our mind and should be our constant and ultimate goal, whether we're enlightened or not. It'll get there if we keep this motivation up. We will get there. If we keep thinking we'll do everything we can for the benefit of all beings, then we will naturally be enlightened. We don't even have to think about it.
I couldn't say anything better. I think that's amazing. I think, yeah, just to work for the benefit of beings and hold the bodhisattva motivation. And in that case, I think that maybe the idea of attainment is problematic. And because it can, what's the word? It can bring out the worst in us. You know, sort of our feeling bad about ourselves, or our feeling like, oh, we're just, you know, we're not going to ever get there, and so forth and so on, and maybe fantasizing, well, others are farther ahead than me. I feel like there's no way I could compete with them. So you see what I'm saying? We can, if we think in terms of just attainment, then we have a lot of confusing and negative, you know, self-important thoughts that come up in the middle of all that. Whereas if we can just continue to open up our mind to the benefit of suffering beings and just say, I'm here for that. Again, a Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche story, when we were getting ready to do the 3-year retreat, he saw me in the hall and he said, what are all those books in your room? And I said, oh, well, I thought I was going to need them. And he said, you're not here on vacation, you know, getting your reading done. You know, you're here. The only reason you are here is because there are beings out there who are suffering and they're going to need you. This is why you're here. Beings are suffering and you have to help them. So I always remembered that, and I sent home most of the books. Lama
Excellent.
Adam.
Yes.
One of the things that really helped me, like what you're saying about attainment, was early on in Ngöndro, I'm thinking, oh, okay, so I can finish Ngöndro and then get Mahamudra teaching. But then hearing from other people talk about Ngöndro as a process, don't think of it like you're getting a diploma. It's your daily motivation and practice. And then I thought to myself, it took me 10 years to get through college, but as soon as I got through college, I said I did it. So I'll do Ngöndro, even if it takes me 10 years. Took me a little longer, but well worth it.
Yes.
Thanks for sharing that.
Yeah, I would say too that I think there's a lot of, I know I get hung up on the idea of like the destination of enlightenment. And And I think as long as we're thinking of it as something that we have to get to, we're thinking on a relative level, and that the practice of the relative level is to keep going, to just keep moving and try to get there. But if we're going to get there, that is a recognition, I think. I think that's not really a destination. Like actually arriving there is a recognition. And then the third point here is that recognition also includes a relative aspect. So that's why our teachers, even if they are enlightened beings, are still practicing constantly. Like they're still doing the practices that are, we think of as the vehicle to get us to enlightenment. They're already there and they're still doing it. So I think, again, it's still like a balance kind of thing, but I think that's the incredible profundity of Ngöndro, is like you get to work with both of those aspects. That like if you think it's a destination, then you got to keep going, but you can also in any moment recognize you're already there, and if you're there, keep going.
Beautiful.
I have a question for anyone here who has completed more than one Ngöndro. I was wondering if you could maybe say something about how your experience with it changed or evolved when you did it a second time or a third time.
Well, I've done it several times because of the retreats, and the one before retreat and one after retreat. Anyway, I can't really say that there is a huge change, because it's just a continual stream of hard work, really. And you always have to put in a lot of effort in these preliminary practices. Particularly in Ngöndro, it involves so much physical exertion and verbal recitation, and then mental visualization. It's actually tiring. So each time I did it was always, what I can remember was very tiring. But I think unknowingly it must have brought a lot of accumulations and purifications to my karma in my life. And you don't really feel it until you begin to do other practices, or you begin to, notice changes in the way you think, the way you interact with others. So I think those are all very subtle, and it's not like, oh, as soon as you finish and then all of a sudden you feel, oh, you're different, you're transformed. I don't think it's like that for me. I think it's everything is a slow drip by drip, drop by drop kind of accumulation and purification. And it's all a ongoing, evolving process, even until now.
I only did Ngöndro once, so I'm not qualified to answer the question. Lama Adam?
I did it about 3/4 before my first retreat and then in retreat. So I can't really say more than twice either.
All right.
But I think, Ngöndro is more about purification and accumulation. And these things are always working in the background. We don't really feel, some people do feel a lot of difference, which, I think it's definitely a great sign that they're doing it correctly and sincerely and wholeheartedly. And myself, I was kind of just doing it. So no great experience to report.
Lamala, could I ask, I know in Mountain Dharma, Rinpoche, in each section describing the Ngöndro, he gives a practice that can be done to do the practice for other people. There's like a certain line that can be added or an extra visualization. And knowing that we're already doing the practice for the benefit of all beings, can you give any guidance on like when it would be appropriate to add this extra practice to do it for the benefit of others?
I'm not aware of what kind of lines should be added. And so I'm not really sure how it's done. But I think if we want to do it for others, we can do it through dedication at the end, or through the visualization by including them in the practice more specifically.
Do you think that would be kind of more for our own benefit if we're feeling particularly like emotionally, like some more emotional upheaval about somebody, then maybe that's the time where we need to do that. Whereas normally we would just recognize that, of course, they're standing next to us in the prostrations. And does that
Yes,
sound
I think
right?
that would be a very skillful means of, yes, working with our emotions.
Thank you.
What do you think, Lama, Kathy?
Oh, I just come back again and again, to the changes that take place in people when they at each step along the path, because when we first start doing shamatha practice, we change. When we start doing Tonglen, we change, and doing the practice and Ngöndro, we change. And I do think it's something that's is progressive and continuously moving, And
Yes.
so yeah, and I don't know. I guess the main thing that comes to my mind is just the good fortune we have to have these teachings, and the good fortune we have to have this opportunity to practice. Oh my gosh, right? Even if we practice just a little bit every day, then slowly, slowly, the benefit piles up. It's kind of like what you're saying about drop by drop by drop. But I don't know if that addressed the question directly. So if there's a part missing from what we said, then let us
No,
know.
I think that gets it. Yeah, I mean, I think it's probably, it's never going to be a clear, definitive answer, I think, about this, because in any case, we're practicing for the benefit of beings. But I know it's been helpful for me, particularly, like I don't remember off the top of my head because I don't do them regularly, but I do remember with Vajrasattva, the visualization becomes you and the other person being purified by Vajrasattva. And that has been really helpful for me at times. I think I only utilized that just a few times, but it was when I really needed it, you know?
Yeah, the methodology that I learned, I did not attend any of the Mountain Dharma teachings. And so, I have I'm woefully behind in my reading. So I never did read those specific things, but Khenpo Rinpoche said that you can include people in your Vajrasattva practice. And I think I was the only person he said this to, because nobody has ever said anything to me about this since. And that is that if you are concerned about some people, you can see that after the purifying Amrita comes out the top of your head at the end of the Vajrasattva purification sequence, you can see it traveling to beings who need it, which I thought was really interesting. But again, no one, he's taught like that. He frequently taught like that, where he would teach people specific and special things and then never teach it again. And so, I can't offer it to people as a way to be of benefit, but it's something he taught. So, but I appreciate people wanting to benefit others through their Ngöndro practice, and I appreciate that. Karma Chagme was a master of being able to adjust practices to fit the needs of people. I mean, first and foremost, I think of him as a chaplain, where he was always serving beings in one way or another. I mean, all the stories we hear about him, Karma Chagme was just That was all he did with his entire life, was serve beings, find ways and create practices that were so short that even lay people could do them. I mean, who does that? Just, he was just present and accompanied people through their lives. When their sheep were sick, right? When their family members were sick, he was just always present, like a certain Rinpoche we know.
It's almost like he was like planting little terma with different people. And like sometimes you talk to them and you hear it and you're like, oh, wow, that is, it's pretty amazing.
In fact, I have a feeling that this was Khenpo Karthar Rinpoche's special genius, was that he gave each of us something incredibly special. And now the rest of our lives is meeting other students and sharing and finding out what their special dispensation was from Rinpoche. I mean, I'm joking, but I'm not joking. I mean, but these opportunities just keep coming up again and again and again for us to share those little things he gave us. And it's almost like we are Rinpoche for each other at this particular moment in time. We represent his love and caring and blessing to each other right now. So anyway, I talk a lot, so I think I'll be quiet now. I'll pass.
We really appreciate it, Mama Kathy. Thank you.
I'm curious if there's any of our members that want the reading transmission for Ngöndro.
I think all of you have received it. Yeah, you've had teachings from many teachers. I was asked to give the reading transmission for the prayer that His Holiness Karmapa has requested us to do during one of his room teachings. This is called the Wangdu Sodep, which we've been doing every day at KDD at the beginning of Mahagala. And so perhaps we could do it at the end or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Are there other questions? If not, we can start with the reading transmission.
That would be great, Lama Lodro. We could do the reading transmission. We appreciate that.
Okay.
Lama Lodro, I have a couple questions. One, I noticed that Zoom does not allow PDFs to be attached. Do you know if the version that I found from Lotsawa House is the right version of the prayer?
It is, yes.
Okay. And then the second question is, the best time to recite this is before our liturgy, before our sadhana?
I don't know, because I have not been instructed on this particular prayer, but we do it at the beginning of Mahagala every day and beginning of our monthly pujas and major pujas as well. So probably at the beginning, I would say.
Okay.
Okay, so are we going ahead with the reading transmission?
Yes, please, Lama Lodro.
Okay. All right, I have it on my desktop. 지구나와 타이 도제조 지대원슈 도제 제차수 배마겨보 고대가 왕규나 시스나와 제루가 성의지 벤자와라히 대신 대초대 배겨보 대신대 만두개고 이초리체마 초된자게 원슈대동걸 원세도 제바와 저기서 난동량바 첨벙아니도 두제고이 가기 세송 감해송기 시자 감송고 세마보 코제 용나교 시시당주 용신 주바제 도제샤바 첨벙 저기니 냠니르 저거고 자조신 도제자주 샤바 첨벙예 나시 대와 첨벙 동제바 타예 교주 자외로 가이진 대기 공부 재화 신쇼배 랑장사 소마기라 소라 급에서와 뎁소 징계로 조등을 두고 받았다 도매원도 지뱅을 조소 쓰는데 담지스바 there's a small print let me just enlarge it, it's too small. 제방 랍세 소유다 기다든 제제나 김민배배 소와답나 강수 사수영르대 왕길레 군지다 삼바 신도르바든 미사오 담말라 지대 차바 메롱라 콜로 제경 주거 망가람 삼디 담제스반리 도메니 메타방지는 개가나지 발주보이 스베 솔레 좋아쇼. Okay.
Thank
That's right.
you.
Thank you.
And can you tell us what is this aspect or quality of a magnetizing prayer? What is it doing to our practice?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up a little bit. I couldn't.
Yeah.
My connection's
Now,
probably bad.
what are the benefits of a magnetizing prayer? What is this? How does
Yeah.
this empower our sadhana or whatever practice we're doing?
Right. Magnetizing means that you, by reciting this prayer, your ability to attract or magnetize everything you wish, such as, I don't know, longevity, wealth, power, human relations, everything that you desire will be like magnets attached to you, So.
Lama, could you say the name of that prayer again?
Wangdu so the Wangdu means magnetizing.
Okay, thank you.
I put a link to it in the chat box, the Lotsawa House version.
And actually, this is not just for personal benefit. I think his own is, I think the main reason his own has recommended it is more for the entire lineage, so that our lineage will magnetize favorable conditions for its flourishment. So for that reason, it's also good to chant at the center, so the center can flourish with all the necessary and ephemeral conditions all gathered.
Right, wonderful.
And also good for magnetizing people to attend.
Yeah.
For this past Losar, there were like several hundred people that came for that day at KTD. And so Kimbo again was very happy, and he's thanked Kimbo Sangye for initiating the chanting of this prayer at the beginning of Magala every day, because he's the Omze. He said, thank you, because you've been doing that, many people showed up.
Right.
Yeah.
Any other questions before we proceed with dedications?
So
Okay.
before the dedications, I'd just like to say thank you all very much for hosting and creating this event. I'm very happy to see all of you all gathered together, and I'm very happy, especially to see Lama Adam. Haven't seen you for a while, and Lama Kathy as well. Really, it's very joyful evening. So thank you.
And thank you for being with us.
It's a pleasure.
Okay, so we have 2 dedications and a Lama's long life prayer. Let me see if I can navigate through Zoom.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, if everybody mutes themselves, once in English, once in Tibetan for each one. And forgive me in advance for my Tibetan pronunciation. By this merit, may all attain omniscience, may defeat the enemy wrongdoing. From the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death, from the ocean of samsara, may I free all beings. May I free all beings. May I free all beings. So nam di tam che zi pani. Tob ne ne pe dra nam pam che ne. Che ga na chi pa la tru pa yi. Di fe so le dro wa dro war sho. The courageous Manjushri who knows everything as it is, Samantabhadra who also knows in the same way, and all the bodhisattvas that I may follow in their path, I completely dedicate all this virtue. Jampal Pawo Jitar Kinpa Dong Kuntu Zanpo Deyong Bezin Te Dedak Kumji Jesu Dak Lo Ching Ewa Di Dak Kamche Rapchu No. I pray that the Lama's health be excellent, that their supreme lives be long, and their activities increase and spread. Bless us that we remain inseparable from the Lamas. Lama ku kam zang war so wa de, chotu ku she ring la so wa de, lei darzin de la so wa de, lama dongrel wa me jinji lo.
Thank you so much, everybody. All the Lamas, Lama Lodro, Lama Kathy, Lama Adam, everyone for being here tonight. It really means a lot to us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank
All
you,
right.
everyone.
Okay.
And thank you for everybody showing up.
Thank you all.
Our new
Forward to your visit to Southern California, Lama Kathy and Lama Lodro.
Thank you. I look forward to it. Yeah, it's very nice. It will be very, very nice to see you all again.
Thank you.
Bye. Good night, everybody.
Good night. Good night.
Bye.
That was wonderful. Thank you so much for coordinating.
Thank you, Ajahn.
Karma Tenjen Ling, thank you so much for joining us. It was an honor.